knows anything about, no, I'm good, about Molly, we'd love to hear something about the Gladstone children from what
Molly was an expert.
Don't do it.
Molly was a security expert. Apparently, she had 14 locks on her front door.
When I was a teenager,
Did any of them work,
She
Jerry?
was a security expert. She had 14 locks on her door. She lived on Esplanade, and she'd lock all the doors, and she said, 1 minute, she was getting a lift. She ran back from the car to the door, to see if she could bust it. No, it's okay.
so when I came, go ahead.
Find my purse to a demonstration.
Oh, okay.
They come to our house, and there was another guy. And my mother she loved Iran, so she was very good to them, but they didn't really read or write very, at least English, maybe Yiddish, but not. So my mother would write letters to her son Jack in California. But I remember always coming into the house, clutching this purse. I always wondered what was in there. She always said, the papurin, these papers. And I just suddenly had that memory of that.
So my parents took me to Montreal when I was a teenager, and Molly and Sophie did not talk to each other. They had periods where they were friendly and they weren't friendly. From Sidney Koplovich 5 years ago, and from Gertie Bernstein, who's a Rudick. Gertie Bernstein, who is 95 years old and a wonderful, alert, delicious lady who would be here in person if she could. And if we could Skype, if there was internet here, she'd be talking to us. She told me that Molly and Sophie were identical twins, and they were absolutely beautiful. That people would stop their horse and buggy in the middle of the street to stare at them. They were so identical. And their skin was porcelain, absolutely beautiful and shiny hair.
You know, when the weather was nice, we both lived near Esplanade, and they would go to the park. And their biggest pleasure was to spend, remember that, they spend their whole day in the park. They bring their lunch, they picnic there, and then when the weather got bad, there was really no place for them to go.
Now I'm going to read your story. So here's Jerry's story that he sent in an email. My Bubby Sophie's twin sister seems to be a mystique to everyone. That's Molly. She was ahead of her time and had a few guys. She and my grandma used to hang out at Esplanade Park, facing Mount Royal, and for entertainment, they would go to Paperman's funeral parlor, where it was warm, and it was too cold to be in the park. So they would attend the funerals, bang on the coffin, and yell in Yiddish, "Such a good person."
What? Yeah, what?
Most of the time they have no idea this is a coffin. Thank you, Jerry, for that delicious story. So I have to go back for a minute before we get to, I wanted to tell you that when I was a teenager, my dad picked up my grandma Bessie and my mother Gertie Stark, and we went to visit first Sophie and then Molly. And they weren't talking to each other. So Molly was up on her balcony and Sophie was in the car with us, and my father would say, Gay, speak to your sister. And she'd do my father a favor, step out and say, hello. And she'd get back in the car and say, okay, I said hello. That was it. They wouldn't talk to each other. And this is Zelda. Now, as a child, Zelda was the youngest. Zelda was heaven. You'd come into her home and it would smell from baking. She was everyone's delicious person. When I gave birth, I screamed out, Zelda! Because she told me I was having a girl and I had a boy. So the first thing the doctor said to me is, what's a Zelda? When my mom was 18, she ran away with my father from Montreal, City Hall Avenue, to New York and lived with Zelda and David. This is a photograph of their wedding picture. They were just lovely, charming people. Nathan was a pattern maker, and he made yarmulkes, and he made clothing, and he's just awesome people. Let's go to the next slide.
She's a beauty, too.
Lovely. Now, this is the wrong photograph. I apologize. Arlene, I apologize. Is that your mother?
Yeah,
Okay. So that's the wrong photograph. First, I have to preface everything by saying, my husband, my sweetheart here, Abe, worked on this for, I'd say, about 200 hours. So this is not exactly the family tree, but it's a slide presentation, a PowerPoint presentation to try to put the families together. We know very little about Ethel Rosner. We know who her children were and her grandchildren. If anyone would like to help us, add anything, say anything, do you have any photos? Hearing none, we'll go to the next slide. This is my grandma Bessie and my grandpa David Stark. And then she married again to a man named Zoe Gold. There's my mom and my dad, Ben Gould. Alright, my sister Judy, who would have been here tonight if she didn't lose her roof. We had a storm a few years ago, and she finally had a roof. Her first husband, Abe, her son David and his wife, and their 3 children. This is her son, Marty, and his 2 sons, and her daughter Barbara, who's named after Bessie, and their children. And this is my sister's second husband. This is my brother Irv, who passed away in 2004, and his wife, and their children and grandchildren. This is his son, that's his daughter. Let's go on. That's me, that's my husband, our son Marty. Tonight is my, you could see, today, July 24th, I'm missing my daughter-in-law's birthday. She's 42. And we first had our first little girl, and her name is Sydney. And that's our grandson. This is our daughter, our son Dan, and his delicious wife Lisa, and our miracle baby Jared, our daughter Amy, her husband Mitchell, and our 2 grandchildren. This is my Uncle Jack. Now, Linda just told me a story before. Would you like to share? Where's Linda? My Uncle Jack owned a motel in Cornwall. Right, he was told that the St. Lawrence Seaway would be passing right by that motel, so he put a lot of money into it, and guess what? It never did. So he has a daughter, Cindy. Cindy would have been here tonight if she could. She owns the only kiwi plantation in North America, and she sent us lots of information. These are her children and her grandchildren, and Jack was my mother's brother. And Linda told me that he liked to be called Yaakov Volk. Now, I am doing research right now in Piotr Niemsk, in the Yizkor books, in the synagogue of Piotr Niemsk. There is a name of Yaakov Volk. So keep tuned. I'll tell you more. Yeah. Yes.
What kind of plantation was that?
Kiwi.
Kiwi.
The only plantation in North America.
Victoria.
Victoria. Victoria, British
Don't
Columbia.
answer, he's not a blood relative. He's just
I'm actually interested.
And you can't be a blood relative.
Next. Yeah, okay. Now we come to Annie. Now you will see a picture repeated every time she remarried. I don't know who Shirley Goodney is or if there's a bar mash here, but I ate, dreamt, slept, and lived bar mash and Goodney for 3 months. So I hope I got this right. Just follow me here.
Pilgrimage.
All right? Do I have all the names right? Any stories? Anything? All right, let's
Yeah.
talk.
This is Evelyn Yankovic.
Yeah?
That was Evie. And she didn't get married so young. She wasn't such a beauty. And this guy comes, Harry
Well, she
Mazer.
was 20.
That was old. Well, that was old. This guy comes off a boat named Harry Mazer, big guy. And my grandfather had a little factory. He tried to give him a job as a sewing machine operator, but his hands were that close. Anyway, he knew somebody who was a Jewish landlord, and he figured they'll make him a bill collector. He'll go collect the rent because nobody mail checks it. The Shlov would show up at the first of the month, and you had to be frightening. So that's what Harry Mazer did. I can't remember the guy he worked for, but it's a true story. Did this for years, and he sort of, he got a little settled. He saw what his boss was doing. He'd collect the rent from all the doors and take a little bit off, go buy another set of doors, and so on and so on. Harry Mazer started to save whatever money he had, and did the same thing. Bought a little property here, bought a little property. Harry Mazer died, he left 22 properties. His kids were all multimillionaires because of Harry Mazer. Harry Mazer never owned a car. He never took a taxi, never took a bus. When he wanted to go anywhere, he called the plumber. He called the carpenter. Everybody was glad to